Next, we will take a look at how to append the data in SSIS using union all transformation. In this topic, we will take a look at what is union all transformations all about and how to use union all transformations, and also understand the limitations of union all transformation. What is union all transformation? It is an SSIS component using which we can combine multiple inputs into a single output. Supposing I have two Excel files like this, Excel file 1 and Excel file 2. I want to combine both these Excel files data into a single output like this. In this kind of situation, the union all transformation is very much helpful to combine the data, to combine the multiple inputs into single output. Okay. So union all transformation, using which we can combine the multiple inputs into one single output, and the transformation inputs are added to the transformation output one after the other. You need to remember this point, and the metadata of the multiple columns from multiple inputs must match. So what does that mean? For example, the mapped columns must have the same data type. If the data types are different, then it will throw an error. That I will show you when I give a demo in SSIS tool. And also remember that it does not support error output. It does not require sorted input and output. And if you need a sorted output, you should use the mesh transformation instead of using the union all transformation. So the next thing is, you need to remember the union all transformation in SSIS does not follow any particular order while merging the data and storing in the destination table. So what I mean here is, when we combine the data from multiple sources, there are higher possibilities that it can have the duplicate records in your final output. To remove the duplicates, so you should combine a union all component with a sort component, because sort component provides an option to remove the duplicate rows and achieve the same thing as union query, which we use it in SQL query. Next, we will take a look at the steps that are required to perform union all transformation in SSIS. Now I'll jump to SSIS tool. Currently, we are in the SSIS tool, the Visual Studio SSIS tool here. So here, what I do is I'll just go ahead and drag and drop the data flow task from the toolbox to the control flow. And then what I do is I right click on it and edit. It'll take me to the data flow tab. And here, I'm going to drag and drop two Excel sources from the toolbox. I have two Excel files. Now what I do is I'll just double click on this Excel source. It opens up the connection manager. Here we have something called new, and I'm going to click on the new browse. I'm going to select the the data file, the first Excel file, and then I'm going to hit OK. And here, if I click on the drop down here, I can see the sheet name that is available in my Excel file SSIS append level. And if you click on the preview, we can see that 5 records are there in this data file. And we will go to the columns tab, columns option here, and we will check all the columns that are required to append the data. Yes, these are the 4 columns that are available in this data set. And error output, okay, this is the one. At this moment, I'm not going to discuss about this. Okay, now we will see what are the columns that are available. Okay, this is the external column, this is the output column, and I'm going to hit OK now. Similarly, I'm going to double click on this. This one brings up the connection manager. In the connection manager, I'm going to select another file. For example, I'm going to select this file, and I'm going to hit OK now. And if you click on the drop down, it shows you the sheet name that is available. So here we can see that 5 columns are there. In the other Excel file, we were seeing only the 4 columns, product, sales, currency, date, whereas here we have an additional column. Even though we don't have any data here, it shows an additional column. So anyhow, I'm going to click on close. Now I just go to the columns here, and then I just go and select those columns that I don't need it, because in the first Excel file I have only 5 columns or 4 columns are there. Product, sales, currency, date. In order to keep this in sync with my first Excel file, I'm going to keep the same columns. The column, the FI is not required at all. Hence, I unselected it here. Though it is available an additional column, I don't need it here. So I'm going to hit OK now. I'm done with this. The next step is we can go to the other common transformations, common task here. In the common task, you can see the onion all. I just drag and drop this out here. And the next one is I'm going to connect these two sources, Excel source, the file one, the first Excel file and second Excel file. I just connected with this one. In the sense, I just joined these two Excel sources to this union transformation. Okay, and then the next thing is I'm going to double click on the union all transformation. So it opens the union all transformation editor window. This is where we need to configure it. This is my first Excel file input, and this is my second Excel file input. And here what happens is we need to configure the properties to merge multiple inputs into one output. This is my output by creating mappings. So we need to create the mappings. Since the column names are same for these two Excel files, or in these two Excel files, it automatically maps the columns between these two data files columns. And if you click on here, and if you see here, you have an ignore and product. Here product. So in the second Excel file, we have product. Supposing the second Excel file, instead of product, you have product name, then you need to click on here and specify product name. It will not automatically detect the column product name, and it will not map it with this one. You need to manually click on the drop down, and you need to select the product name to map this. Okay, so now since these two Excel files column names are same, it maps the first Excel files input column with the second Excel files input columns automatically. Next one is I'm going to use the destination as the OLEDB. In this case, what I do is I just go ahead and link this one. If you see, if you notice one thing here, it does not support. You can see only the blue colored line here, arrow here. The red color is not. That means it does not support sorted output. And here I just dragged and dropped this line, or I joined this line with the OLEB destination. Now we need to define the target. I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to select new here, and I'm going to select the Sage database and double click on it. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new table. I'm going to give the name as target append table. So we can see that 4 columns, the product, sales, currency, date, date type. And we will go to the mapping. Sorry, okay, I'm going to hit OK now. And next one is the mapping. So the mapping happened perfectly here. The 4 columns of the product, sales, currency, date, and product, right? So the mapping has happened correctly here. And I'm going to hit OK now. So we don't see any red color, the red color cross mark here. Now everything is fine. This looks fine now. Okay, and the next thing is I'm going to double click on the union all once again. Okay, everything is fine. And here I just go and look at the show advanced editor and input and output properties. If you go here and if you take a look at here, and input columns or product sales, everything is same. And okay, good. And if you look at this one here, input and output properties. For example, you have the external columns and output columns. And make sure that the product is WTST, or here also the WTST, any code string, any store string, and sales is your double precision float, and here also the sales is double precision float. Okay, everything is good here. And yeah, so now we are all set. I'm going to hit the start button here. Let's see what happens. It has to create the target append table at the SQL server. And if you notice here, we don't see any error here. The first Excel file have 5 rows and second Excel file have 14 rows. 5 plus 14, 19 rows went into this table. So this has done a perfect job. We'll go and test the same in the SQL server now. I just go to the SQL server. So here I just our table name is target append. I'm going to give the correct name here, target append. We can see that 19 rows got loaded into this table. So good job. So it has done a good job. To summarize, to combine multiple, so union transformation is helpful to combine multiple inputs into a single output. The transformation inputs are added to the transformation output one after the other. The metadata of the multiple columns from multiple inputs should match. Okay, so what do you mean by metadata? Look here, I'm going to click on this one here. And if you see here, we have something called general, and then the next one is metadata. So this is your Unicode string data type, and you have double byte numeric data type, and then currency data type. Everything is correct here. The data types are correct here. And then the metadata are matching between the two files. Okay, this is the one you need to remember, and it does not support error output. It because if you see here, we can see only one line. The blue colored arrow is there, red color is not there. Hence, it does not support error output. It does not require sorted input and output. It requires sorted. If you want a sorted output, you should use the merge transformation instead of using the union all transformation. Next, we will go ahead and take a look at how to perform merge in SSIS tool. And the assignment for you is use different source files, one Excel file and one flat file, comma separated value files or text file, and see if you are able to successfully combine the Excel with the CSV files data into a single output. So this wraps up union all transformation.